Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a Valorant agent tier list. If you want to make your own tier list, there's a link down in the description below, and then you can compare yours to mine at the end of the video. Okay, now look, I know, relax. You guys are going to have your own opinions. You can put them down in the comments below and we can have a discussion. Just remember that these are my own opinions and my feelings about the characters. Starting things off with Breach. He's got some really good utility. His stun, his flashes, his aftershock, and his ultimate. His flashes are really good. They pop super quick and they're good for catching people off guard. His ultimate is really good for people who are on the site trying to plant or defuse the spike. Even to enter the site or to retake the site, his ultimate is really strong. But there's one problem that a lot of Breach players have. It's that they get caught with their pants down and their utility out because they're trying to perfectly time their utility on the enemies, and I've seen it time and time again. So if you are not the kind of player who can just think on the fly and quickly do these kind of things, Breach isn't for you. Now, if you are a good player, you'll know how to combine his stun and his aftershock with a character like ISO. You can make some really unique plays with this character. For example, sent A side on defense, you have a Breach and an ISO. The Breach stuns, the ISO vulnerables, and the Breach aftershocks straight down that A entrance where the enemies will be pushing. If you can get some info like that on eco rounds, you're gonna shred the enemy's HP. Now, taking all of this into account, I think I'm still gonna leave Breach in mid tier. For me, I can't play him, so I wouldn't like to give him the solid rating, or definitely not God rating. However, I do know a lot of people who can play Breach well, and in my opinion, he's pretty decent. Moving on to Brimstone. I think he's just bad, dude. He's straight up bad. There are so many other controllers like Omen and Viper who just do his job better. He doesn't get rechargeable smokes. His stim beacon is bumhole, it's terrible, trash. Dude, the only time it's useful is when you've lost all hope in a game, you've already reported the enemies like 10 times, and now you have to push onto a site thinking maybe the extra speed on your shooting is gonna help you. I don't think it will. On the other hand, he's pretty good for post bombs, so if you're a lineup champion, you'll love Brim. Whether it's his Molly or his ultimate, you're gonna do pretty good. I just personally am not a lineup player, and I just think he's bad. He needs a buff. Riot, if you're listening, he needs a buff. Next up is my boy Cypher, straight up god tier. After the recent buffs that he had with his tripwires that they don't get destroyed and they activate quicker, bro, god tier character. If you know setups that can catch people off guard with one-ways with your cages, sorted. Now, even on attack, he can watch the flank. He doesn't even have to be anywhere near his trip, like a lot of the other sentinels, like Killjoy and Chamber. You don't have to be near the trips. They just give you information on the other side of the map. And his ultimate's only 6. It's only 6 ult points. Bro, you get free information on the first kill of the round within 6 kills. It's like, it's stupid. It's stupidly strong. Honestly, he probably needs a nerf. He can solo anchor sites while the rest of your team does whatever they want because he can hold so many angles and get so much information, which just allows your team to take other areas of the map, and it gives you a real advantage on defense. Next up is Jett, the most nerfed agent in Valorant history, I think. Now look, Jett's not bad, alright? She's definitely not bad. I think I'm gonna have to leave her in mid, purely because she has that stupid bar for her dash where if you don't time it right, you're just wasting a dash. She only has 1 updraft now. She has 2 smokes, which are maybe useful for clearing temporary angles or smoking temporary angles, but it's just, she feels very lackluster with the amount of utility she has. On the other hand, if you're good with knives, her knives, you can do really well on eco rounds and catch your enemy off guard when your team only has classics. But trust me when I say this, if you're having a bad day with aim, don't play Jett. There's nothing worse than losing all 5 of your knives within 1 second because you can't aim. Next up is Omen, straight up, in my opinion, the best controller in the game. He has rechargeable smokes, he has his TPs and his blind, he has his ultimate TP, which you can use to get the bomb, you can use it to get info, you can use it to flank. It's really, really good. If you know what you're doing and you know where to go with enough information, you can make this character work so well. You can use his flash and TPs in combination to completely bamboozle your opponents, because once they're flashed, they're nearsighted and they can't hear. So you can flash them, TP behind them, and then they won't even know where you are. It's really, really good, and he adds this cool, unique playstyle to the game. So for that reason, Omen's a god tier, boy. Next up, we've got Phoenix. The best pop flashes in the game, in my opinion. You can catch people off guard with these things, with their pants down. You just hear them coming, you flash the corner, you peek, you get free kills. He is the most user-friendly, easiest character to play in the game, in my opinion. His utility is so simple. Little Molotov, little bendable wall, flashes, left, right, whatever. And his ultimate. It's a free life. You literally get free confidence. Valorant gives it to you, and it's every 6 ult orbs. It's so quick. I often find myself getting his ult 6, 7, 8, 9 times a game, depending on how well I do. It's just, he's such a good character. Next up is Raze, and you guessed it, 3 in a row, baby, god tier. I love this agent. So good on attack, so good on defense. If you know how to satchel, she is so good. There's so many different places you can leap off of and fly around the map. If you know how to do it, you're going to do so well, and combine it with her ultimate, the satchel, ultimate satchel, you can often find yourselves getting 1, 2, sometimes even 3, or if you're lucky like me, you get 4 kills. Raze forces you to play fucking aim labs. 1 second you're just chilling on site, you can't hear anything, you can't see anything. Next second she's right above you, 90 degrees with a judge, and you're dead. There's nothing you can do, unless you're a god at aim labs that you can flick up and hit the bubble, you know what I mean? One thing I must say about Raze though, if you can't use her satchels, don't bother playing her. Without her satchels, she's just a chick with a grenade. So next up is Sage. So Sage has her slow orb, her
Need healing. Need healing. Need healing. Need healing. Need healing. Need healing.
Welcome to the solo queue Sage experience. So anyways, Sage has her wall, her slow orbs, her heal, and her ultimate, which is a revive. Now, in most cases, you would think that that's a pretty strong thing, and in most cases, it can be. However, how many times have you been rezzed, and then the enemy swings around the corner, kills the Sage, gets a free kill on you, and you just get another death added to your scoreboard. Sage's walls can be really good if you follow Grim, and you know Grim walls, because that guy knows how to make them work. If you can make them work, you're gonna make Sage work. However, if there's one thing we all know, it's the Pocket Sage. There's nothing more frustrating than being 10-0 down, there's an enemy Reyna who's popping off, having the game of their life, or they're a smurf, and they've got like 40 kills, and you finally manage to kill her, and then along comes the Pocket Sage to take away all your glory, and she revives the fucking Reyna. Ever wanted to feel like the most useless player in Valorant? Try playing Sova. Bro, the first and probably only contender for the mega trash tier. This guy is bad. He has a very specific niche, and if you can play him well, all the power to you. He's a decent agent if you know how to play him. You know your lineups, you know where to shoot all your darts, you know when to do it, you know the timing, you're good with the post bomb ult. He's good. But honestly, if you're bad at Valorant, don't even try play Sova. He's gonna make it worse for you. All you average Jonas lovers out there, get the fuck out of here. I hate Sova, and it'll never change. Following Sova, we've got Viper. Bro, Viper's a solid agent. She has some really good utility for taking control of the map. Her ult can be used when you've planted the bomb or when you want to defuse the bomb. It can be used to take early space. It can be used to hold angles. Her ult is really strong for you and your teammates. I know you guys know the feeling of attacking a site and there's a Viper and all of a sudden the orb goes up and then her snakebite mollies pop off and you just can't do anything. You can't push. She's really, really great at stopping people from pushing. So combining her with Duelist on defense, you're gonna have the site on lock. Try to be strategic in where you're placing your wall, because once it's down, it's stuck there for the whole round. Overall though, I really think Viper's a solid agent. I can't play her personally, but I can't put her at fault for being a strong agent. Just my opinion. Following Viper, we have Reyna. Reyna is a good agent. She is solid. She's a solid agent. If you know how to play duelist, she's also got a really simple kit like Phoenix's, so you're gonna do well as her. Since the nerf, the other duelists have taken the limelight from her. However, she is still a solid agent. Reyna is a unique soloist, so what I mean by that is her abilities don't really benefit the team, besides for her flash. You know, she can heal herself, she can dismiss away, but you just leave your team stuck in the open kind of thing. Two things to note about Reyna though. One, if you can't handle fast firing, be careful in her ultimate. She shoots really fast and reloads really fast, so it's something to get used to. And number two, if you can't get kills, you're not going to do well as Reyna. Next up is Killjoy, all-round mid-tier agent for me. I can't play her, but I know a lot of people can play her well, so if you know certain setups, you're going to do well. She can be really frustrating to play as though, because her utility is so loud, the enemy can hear it from a mile away and just know, okay, Killjoy is there, let's go to the other side. Another thing about Killjoy is that all of her utility can be destroyed, including her ultimate. However, if you can protect her ultimate, you can take a lot of space with it. Another recent downside to Killjoy is her turret. It used to be able to watch 180 degrees, so it could watch multiple different angles at the same time. However, now it's way more narrow. I'm not sure the exact number, but it limits her quite a lot. Following Killjoy, we've got Skye. Now, Skye used to be probably one of, if not the best initiator in the game. But with these nerfs to her, she doesn't have the rechargeable flashes anymore, which can be so frustrating. And that was one of the only two good things about her. So similarly to Killjoy, both Skye's dog and her ultimate can be destroyed. I find it really frustrating to find a good useful Skye's ult, since it only has 3 cabbages that chase after the enemies. On the other hand though, the positives of Skye, she can flash for info, she can dog for info, she can heal her teammates, and, you know, she does get info with the ult. She's almost like the ultimate early information character. But they are better initiators, in my opinion. So for that reason, I'm gonna leave her in mid. The next agent on our list is Yoru. Now, Yoru, just like Reyna on release, was absolutely broken. He used to come out of his TPs so quickly, his ultimate, his flashes, everything combined was so good. Now it kind of just feels like just another character with a specific niche. If you can get the timings down with his ultimate and his flashes and his boost TP portals and combine that all with his decoys, you can bamboozle the enemy. If you're playing against a good Yoru, you know what it's like to be caught out by one of his fakes. Don't lie to me. For those of you who don't know, a Yoru fake is when the enemy Yoru just runs in a straight line with their gun flat and pretends to be the decoy, and then turns around and kills you. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this before and have PTSD now. Overall though, I think I'm just gonna have to leave Yoru in mid. Although he is a pretty decent agent in the hands of a good player, I just personally can't make him work. Next up is Astra. Now, Astra can be incredibly frustrating to play against if it's a good player. However, in my opinion, she's only really good for post-bomb to pull the enemies off the bomb and to stun certain angles. I do find it absolute bullshit though that she gets a free Jett smoke when she takes her stars away. Like, what the fuck is that, right? And then there's her ult. If you know how to place it well, it's pretty good. You get bulletproof, you get soundproof. It's not that bad, but very situational. Overall, I'm gonna put Astra in bad. I think she needs some love, or she needs some sort of rework. I just can't seem to play her right, and I don't think she's that much of a threat when she's on the enemy team. I'd hate it way more if there was an Omen or a Viper on the enemy team as opposed to an Astra. Following Astra, we've got KO, the quintessential initiator, in my opinion. He kind of feels almost like a CSGO player. He's got those kind of pop flashes, he's got the grenade, he's got his ultimate which turns it into a literal CSGO deathmatch, because nobody can use any abilities and it's just pure aim. On top of it, he shoots really fast and reloads really fast while in his ultimate, and if he gets shot, he can get revived by his teammates, which is pretty damn cool. Did I mention that he can see while he's down and has like 1000 HP? It's pretty good, dude. KO is fantastic at bringing lockdown characters to their knees. A Cypher, a Viper, a Killjoy, doesn't matter. KO just ults or he throws his knife in the right spot with the right information, and you guys can just take the side for free. He's really strong like that. As a Cypher main, if I see the enemy KO has an ult, I know they're almost definitely coming to my side. So in my opinion, KO is the best initiator in the game. He's god tier. Just the things he can do with his util, if you know what you're doing, is really, really good. I can play him pretty okay, but I know there's a level of gameplay with him that is unmatched in the whole game. With the recent Cypher buff, there's been a lot more KOs in the matchmaker that I've seen, because he's so good at countering Cypher, it's actually ridiculous. Next up, we've got Chamber. Chamber was god tier when he released. Yet another character that Riot released, and they were overpowered from the beginning. Chamber with his 2 TPs before, and his 2 trademarks, he was broken, bro. And on top of that, how quick he used to shoot with his ult and with his pistol, he was stupid. He used to be able to TP from bind B site in a little cubby to A site in lamps, because of how long range the TPs used to be. Now, he's just kind of meh. His TP's almost useless. His ultimate it's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, sure, if you hit a shot, you slow them down and it's basically a free operator. But if you're not an operator player, you're not gonna like him, to be honest. His pistol is basically a pocket guardian or a pocket vandal. First round, that thing destroys. Second round, it really destroys. And now that they've buffed him by giving a decrease in price to each bullet, overall though, he's nowhere near god tier anymore. In my opinion, he's just a mid character. If you can make use of his verticality with the TP, and I don't know, if you know how to play with an operator, you're gonna do well. He's just not for me. Following Chamber, we have the god of movement, Neon. Neon is really good if you're in the top 1% of players that actually mains her. However, for the rest of us average folks, she's pretty hard to play. She's got such a niche. She's another niche character. If you know how to do those stupid jump movements and constantly moving and getting in your face and shotgun shorty on an eco round, you're gonna do well. But if you can't do that, she's just alright. I mean, she can flank really quick. She gets that laser beam thing for her ultimate. And she can slide. I don't know. If you can't play her well, you're just gonna find her really frustrating, in my opinion. As she is for me. Neon without movement is worse than Raze without satchels, because at least Raze can do damage, right? Neon can just maybe stun or wall. In my opinion though, I think Neon just has to stay mid for me. I just can't seem to get her movement down, and I don't feel like going through what I went through with Raze to learn the satchels, to learn for Neon. I just can't be asked. There's many other duelists or characters I'd rather play. Next up is Fade. In my opinion, just a bad character, dude. I don't know, all of her utility pretty much is destructible. Her Haunt Eye thingy-majiggy is only good if you know how to place it in specific areas at the right time. And her Seize as well, that locks the enemy within that circle, is also only good if you know how to time it right and you know how to throw it. Since she was released, she got nerfed and her prowlers just don't go as far as they used to. They feel really useless, in my opinion. However, a well-timed Fade ult, combined with other characters and other teammates doing utility and things that make a lot of noise, can be used in combination in a really fantastic way. It's just very hard and very, very situational. Riot, this is another one. Buff this character. Next up is the final controller, Harbor. I think Harbor is a solid agent. When he first released, everybody thought he was trash because nobody knew how to use his utility. But with his wall that can be curved, it's basically a curved Viper wall, which slows enemies down when they walk through it and makes a noise cue. Combine that with his tidal waves, and then he also has his orb to protect the bomb planter or bomb diffuser. He's really good, dude. He's actually a solid agent, and a lot of people don't play him. I don't know why. Even his ultimate, it's great for retaking sites, for getting information, for keeping the enemy a little bit in a panic state, for, you know, if they don't move, they're going to get stunned, and then it's like a easier kill for the people retaking. If you don't know how to play controllers, as in the agent type, I don't recommend Harbor, because he is quite difficult. However, if you like controllers and you haven't given Harbor a try, you need to do it. Next up, we have the final initiator, Gekko. Gekko is yet another solid character. All his utility is reusable, except for his molly, his mosh. However, if the enemy is caught in the mosh when it's done, it's an instant kill, which is really strong. No other molly does that in the game. He's got quite a unique playstyle, unmatched in the game. He has his little satchel with his Pokemon in it. He can flash. He has a guy that can literally plant the spike for you and defuse the spike for you. It's an extra person on side when you're taking it or when you're retaking it. It's really strong, I think. Like, you can't even compare him to Fade. As an initiator, Gekko is 100 million times better than Fade. For example, Fade's Prowlers, they get shot out so easily. They feel like they can only see straight in front of them. And then you compare it to Wingman, Gekko's version of that. This little dude just runs, feels like he can basically turn all the way around and see the enemies behind him, and then he claps in your face and you're stunned. It's really strong. Now, mind you, it can still be destroyed, but it does give away the enemy's position, so that does help the team by initiating combat and telling your friends where the enemy is hiding. Same thing with this flash. If the enemy don't shoot it down, there's literally a beam which points exactly where the enemy is, and if they do shoot it down, there's the audio cue, so you can know exactly where to look. And then we have his ultimate, which can be picked up and reused within the same round. It's basically a pocket Killjoy ult. If you can use it in the right scenario, a lot of the times close range around a corner quickly, it can't be broken by the time it gets to the enemy, and you can detonate it on them, and then they're screwed. So definitely my overall rating of Gekko's gotta be solid. He's a really good agent. He's really easy to play as well. If you're worried about who to choose next and you're not sure who's a good initiator, try Gekko out. I'm sure you'll like him. With that being said though, I still firmly believe that KO is the better initiator, purely because he can stop the enemy team from using their abilities. Next up, we have the final Sentinel, Deadlock. Now, just like Harbor, everybody thought she was bad when she released, because nobody knew how to play her. She's even been buffed since then, and I think she's one of, if not the best Sentinels. She's better than Killjoy, she's better than Chamber. Let's talk about her utility, right? Her wall blocks off an entire area. Yes, you can shoot through it and you can throw utility through it, but it blocks the enemy from pushing. That's exactly what a Sentinel needs to do. She has her Gravnet grenade. There's nothing funnier than watching your duelist try to enter a site and then along comes a Gravnet grenade and then they're stuck. I just can't help but laugh at it. Deadlock sensors are probably the least useful out of all of her utility. They're so loud and can be destroyed, but if you can place them in a way that the enemy have to make noise in that situation, if you know what I mean, then it can be useful. Finally, there's Deadlock's ult. Now, this thing is really good on maps like Icebox. For example, on a site, you can bounce it off of the roof to catch enemies, and even if they get stuck or shot out midway, they fall to their death because it's so high. There's a lot of really cheeky lineups where you can bounce it out of the map and then it lands perfectly where you've planted the spike, and if you can learn those, all the power to you. I couldn't be asked. But those things do make her really good. And so I really do think that Deadlock deserves her position in solid. Last but not least, we have ISO, the latest duelist in the game. Basically an initiated duelist kind of character. He has some pretty solid utility if you know how to use it. His double tap almost feels like a Reyna kind of ability, where it's important that you need to get kills, obviously, for the orbs to show up. However, in certain scenarios, like against Raze's ult, it absorbs one piece of damage, so you can fully block a Raze rocket, which is crazy. There's no other character that can do that in the game. Next up we have his vulnerable, which is a lot like an Omen flash, but instead of blinding, it vulnerables the enemies. This piece of utility is really good on eco rounds because, for those who don't know, being vulnerable means you take double damage. So as well, combining it with other teammates' utility like Breach, for example, can be really brutal. His bulletproof wall is really strong for pushing onto a site, but don't fall for it. Don't think it's bulletproof to abilities as well. I tried to block a Raze rocket with it once and didn't go well. But it can still be really useful for pushing onto a site, taking some space, exactly what a duelist needs to do. ISO's ultimate is definitely the downside to all of his abilities. The only good few uses for his ult is when you're rotating, so you can catch one of the enemies early on the site when you're further away and can't get to the site on time to take them off and take your jewel and hopefully win. Or alternatively, post bomb. When the enemy gets onto the spike, you can just pop your ult down, take them off the spike, save some time, and if your friends are still alive, they can rush over to the body and secure the kill. I feel like he needs a buff in that regard. He needs to have some sort of better advantage than just being able to single out a jewel. Or in his ultimate 1 wall versus 2 walls, like it's not that great of an advantage. Personally, Riot, if you're listening and you value my input, which I hope you do, I think ISO needs to never be able to die in his ultimate. That will make it something advantageous for his team and for him, almost acting like a sort of Phoenix ult, but you get to single out one enemy and maybe get shields out of it. Otherwise, you just die. So, as the final agent, I'm going to be leaving ISO in the solid tier. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, and it's okay. You can talk all you want down in the comments, we'll have a discussion there. But again, remember, these are my opinions. So, how'd you do? Who's your favorite agent? Let me know down in the comments below and consider leaving a like if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing. Subscribe, come on, do it now! So you know the deal, hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!